You guys, I think it's safe to say for anyone who sat back and thought even in the slightest about what the Boston Celtics would aim to do in this 2022 NBA offseason, that for a team who finished just 2 wins short of an NBA championship, and may I remind you, was poised to finish in the bottom tier of their respective conference just 2 or so months before the playoffs actually began, the consensus among players, fans, and I'm sure the entire NBA world would be that the Boston Celtics for the most part would simply run it back. And while this is currently looking like it's going to be the case, and on top of that, Boston making some major acquisitions over the last couple of weeks to improve this team as well, they might not be done there, with some major rumors leaking over the last week or so regarding the Celtics in specific. And with these rumors, well, we need to get into their implications and just how serious they actually might be. One sec though, guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to like the video if you do enjoy, subscribe, and turn on those notifications to never miss another NBA video. Love you guys. Also, don't forget to check out my second channel if you haven't yet, where we're doing NBA simulations and what-if style videos every single week as well. Link to that will be in the description if you are interested, but anyway, let's get back on topic with the Boston Celtics, who, as most of you probably know by now, as we even covered this in a video very recently here on the channel, had, at least in my personal opinion, one of the best possible off seasons they could have with all things considered in their situation. Because by adding both Malcolm Brogdon and Danilo Gallinari to, honestly, what many people could consider already one of the deepest rotations in basketball today, that again, as I'm thinking off the top of my head, all are returning for the following season, Boston could have just called their offseason quits right then and there after these moves, and it would be considered an A in many people's eyes. But no, and I'm sure 99% of you watching this video saw this breaking news before clicking on this video, and if you somehow didn't, well, you're in for a treat, because reportedly, the Celtics hadn't just shown interest in a Kevin Durant trade, as you know, I'm sure every team across the NBA did at least a little bit, but they actually submitted a trade, one that included the man himself, Jaylen Brown, which we need to get into a lot further later in this video, Derek White, and a future draft pick likely being a first rounder for Kevin Durant. And of course, as Sean Marks and the Nets have continued to do with every trade package they receive, they almost immediately declined and in return proposed a package of Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, future picks, and one more rotational player. And you know, it's one thing and crazy enough in itself that the Celtics actually went ahead and proposed this trade to the Nets, but it's another entire aspect in itself that the Celtics are doing this, with all things considered, that again, they fell 2 games short of an NBA championship, they have finals experience now throughout their entire rotation, and you've somehow improved your depth for the following season. Now, with this rumor leaking, there's no telling of when these conversations actually happened or how deep the discussions actually went, but it definitely poses a very prominent question of why on earth would the Celtics want to do this. Now, real quick, I should mention this question is not posed in the sense of why would anyone want to add Kevin Durant. I mean, of course, every team in the NBA would love to have Kevin Durant, but this question was aimed to focus more on Jaylen Brown and why the Celtics would be so quick to get rid of him in this situation. Because with many of these rumors leaking, I'm sure most of you saw the viral tweet from Jaylen Brown shortly after it all broke out, where he stated, and I quote, SMH. I mean, obviously, if you're any NBA player in most situations, you're not going to be too thrilled when you hear that you've been thrown in a trade proposal, but we should definitely also make it clear that following all of these rumors leaking, Jaylen Brown made it publicly clear that he still very much desires to stay with the Celtics. But again, with all of this, why would Boston want to sacrifice everything they've been building for so long? Well, regarding Jaylen Brown, I'm not sure if many of you saw these reports that came out just a couple weeks back after their NBA Finals appearance, where Boston radio host Jermaine Wiggins said he had brief discussions with Jaylen Brown following their playoff run, and in these discussions, Wiggins was getting the impression that Jaylen Brown, quote, wants his own identity and he isn't getting it here in Boston. Now, this quote in itself had people talking, but apparently Wiggins also went on to state that JB told him that he would not re-sign after his contract expires following the 2024 season. Now, believe me, I am not saying that this is true whatsoever. In fact, when Jaylen Brown had been informed about it behind closed doors, he immediately denied this report. But I mean, still, with all of this flying around, it has me thinking at least that with this trade proposal actually happening, is there something going on between Jaylen Brown and the Boston Celtics front office that we, the public, simply don't know about? out. And with JB reportedly saying that he wants his own identity, I mean, I can definitely see where he's coming from with this, because whether you're a Celtics fan or not, you have to agree that for the most part, Jaylen Brown is playing in the shadow of Jason Tatum. And with what many people consider Jaylen Brown outperforming Jason Tatum in this year's NBA Finals, and even him recently liking a tweet on social media stating that he was still being disrespected in Boston, that it has even more of these rumors flying around that the Celtics' current state of mind is that they are not confident Jaylen Brown will be returning after the 2024 season. And if that is the case, I mean, yes, I can definitely see the idea of why the Celtics would at least want to entertain a trade proposal like this, because with different avenues being cut off left and right as we go on in the Kevin Durant sweepstakes, the Celtics might just have the most realistic package to get him. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, is it really worth it? Now again, it should be mentioned, with everything being said, I am not discrediting the skill in Kevin Durant whatsoever. He is still clearly one of the best players in the entire world. But say the Celtics were to actually go through with this, do you think giving up one of your top two co-stars in Jaylen Brown, who just led you to the NBA Finals and was one of the most vital pieces in the process, your reigning Defensive Player of the Year point guard in Marcus Smart, multiple future draft assets, and on top of that, another key rotational player that just got you to the big dance, would be worth it? And I pose this question in the terms of both team chemistry and team build, because it's very clear to anyone who's played or even watched sports in their career how far chemistry can take a team in terms of their success. And if you want the definition of a homegrown NBA team throughout the years, you cannot get much better than what the Boston Celtics have right now. And this same chemistry that we're talking about right now is probably one of the biggest reasons why they went from a below 500 team halfway through the season last year to almost hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy when it was all said and done. Now, as of right now, do I think this trade is even going to come remotely close to happening? No. To be honest with you, I think Kevin Durant is going to be playing out the 2023 season in Brooklyn, where he currently is right now. I just personally think that if, and again, it's a major if, everything we're hearing is true, even regarding the possible uncertainty if Jaylen Brown will be a Celtic after the following two seasons, I just think Boston would be borderline insane to throw everything away that they've been building over the last 4 or 5 years in a blockbuster trade like this. But I'm not saying it wouldn't pay off, because I mean, we all know what Kevin Durant can add to a team. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what else unfolds over the next couple of weeks. But of course, with everything mentioned in this video, you guys know that I am extremely curious to hear what you have to think about this entire situation. So please let me know in the comments, if Kevin Durant were to actually get traded to Boston, what is the most realistic trade package that you would be willing to accept for him? And also, do you still believe that Jaylen Brown is disrespected in Boston, or do you think he receives the right amount of credit he deserves? But again, you guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to go down below and leave a like on the video if you did enjoy, and of course, subscribe while you're down there. We're just patiently waiting over here for the 2023 season, but we're still coming out with brand new NBA content every single week, so just believe me when I say it, you do not want to miss out. And also, I just wanted to say thank you so much to each and every one of you out there for watching. I appreciate you all more than anything, you all know this, and I will see you guys in the next video.